Hello and welcome to Revsportz. I'm Trisha Ghosal and I'm reporting from quite cold Cardiff. And I know people watching, back in India. First, it's good morning for you guys and almost time for good night for me. And the other thing, of course, is I'm trying to send a little bit of cold your side as well because I do know that India right now is, witnessing some of the highest temperatures. Here, of course, things are hitting up a little because not temperature wise, but cricket wise, the World Cup is going to begin in about 8 days' time. And before that, in today is the 4th in India. So from the 6th, the warm-up matches are going to begin. India will play their two warm-up games on the 8th and 10th in Sophia Gardens at Cardiff. And I'm here to cover the Indian practice as well as the warm-up games. But before we go into the warm-up games, let's kind of recap the series, the most important series that happened before the World Cup. If you go back and watch Revsportz, Snehashish and I had done a video on Rev English, Shorjani and Snehashish in Bangla, and Shorjani and me in Hindi on the series that mattered before the World Cup because they were happening in the same condition as England, and some of the top teams were playing against each other. For example, the New Zealand and England series. So let's just recap how those series went, and let me update you guys on who performed, which players did not really make an impact. Again, I'll be consulting my diary, much like I've been doing. That's how you work. And when I talk about diary, I remember Dean Jones and his red book. It was quite famous when I used to work in Star Sports, and Dean Jones was also there. Anyway, getting back to the point. New Zealand versus England, the result was England's way, 2-1. It's extremely windy, as you can understand. The tripod is also moving. Sorry for that. Just give me 1 second. Yes, sorry, getting back. So England won 2-1. And if you look at the performers from there, Alice Capsey with the bat, she was opening in that series because Danny White was, of course, in maternity leave, and even when she opened the batting, she played well. She got a 50. Apart from that, with the ball, it was Lindsay Smith and Charlie Dean who were extremely impressive. And I think that is where Lindsay Smith started her climb in the T20I rankings steadily. And Charlie Dean has been superbly impressive. Charlie Dean was impressive as a captain as well in that series. Though, again, the sample size was very small, but she was impressive. Now, if you look at the other side, that is the New Zealand side, Sophie Devine, last T20 World Cup for the Grandmas, Sophie Devine, Susie Betts and Lee Tahuhu. Sophie Devine was brilliant at number 4. Two of the matches, she completely, took the New Zealand innings on her shoulders. Maddie Green also was impressive with the bat for New Zealand. But now this is where New Zealand has struggled over the years. You know how Amelia Kerr obviously was announced as New Zealand's skipper just before their series against Zimbabwe, and Amelia Kerr in the series against Zimbabwe and then again in the series against South Africa was highly impressive, and she was scoring runs as if her life depended on those runs. But then again, the inconsistency problem clearly kicked in, and Amelia Kerr was highly unimpressive in the England series. As usual, the way she batted against Zimbabwe and South Africa, you expected her to be one of the main batters for New Zealand in the series, but that was not the case, unfortunately. And usually New Zealand has this consistency issues, has had the inconsistency issues. we have to see if in the World Cup, because they are the defending champions of this World Cup. So we really need to see if New Zealand can hit that consistent performance and can you never know, defend the World Cup, or at least make a difference and be in the semi-finals, because their group, while on papers, of course, the India group looks tougher of the two, but you never know, because there's a West Indies who can turn up anyway during T20I matches. So it's a tough group. Scotland has also been doing well. Now let's talk about the next series. Of course, it's India versus England. I don't want to repeat this, the series line, but I have to. England again won 2-1. Capsey, Heather Knight, Freya Kemp, all three of them had impressive innings with the bat. So Alice Capsey is the common name. Clearly, then we can say one of the key names as well, along with, say, a Nat Brandt, because Nat Brandt, as Charlotte Edwards said in the post-match press conference, is not going to bowl. So her batting will be extremely important. So along with Nat Brandt, I feel Alice Capsey will be the most important batter for England and in form as well. Freya Kemp chipped in the New Zealand series also in one of the matches, and in India series also in one of the matches. Heather Knight, again, another experienced customer, brilliant player. She did well in the series against India as well. With the ball, again, you will find a common name, Lauren Bell, of course. She was among wickets, dismissing the Indian openers quite early on. But along with that, I think a bowler who bowled superbly in this series was Charlie Dean. Extremely impressive, the way she bowled, the way she fielded of her own bowling, the way she rotated her bowlers as a captain. I think England is in safe hands eventually, even when, Nat Brandt, probably at the end of this World Cup with the recurring injuries, we might see Nat Brandt discontinuing one of the formats at least. Could be T20Is, you never know, or could be ODIs. The longer formats, maybe she'll stay on for the shorter one. But Charlie Dean, I think, has done very well as a skipper also in Nat Brandt's absence. Now, looking at the Indian side from the series, if you see, I would say Jemima was a big positive. So was Yastika's batting in the power play. Harmanpreet with a timely 50, though it was not in the winning cause, but still at least a timely 50. And Deepti Sharma, among all four names that I took, I think Deepti Sharma for me was highly impressive, because that's one of the things. And by the way, all this with the bat. And Deepti Sharma's batting was highly impressive, because we do need someone to close out the innings a little and give that confidence to Trisha Ghosal to go for her shots. That is where I feel Deepti batting well becomes extremely important. Deepti needs to bowl well as well. That has not happened, and let's hope that happens very soon. If you look at the 6 games that England played, they have won 4 of them. Interestingly, out of the 4 games that England won, 3 of them they have won chasing. One thing I missed out, I'll add, which is Indian bowling. I thought in India bowling, Nandini Sharma was impressive. Kranti Gaur, good news, is among wickets, and N. Sri Charani also bowled well in the first 2 games. Third game, she was a little expensive, but Heather Knight and Alice Capsey was absolutely they were merciless. Moving on to the Tri-Series, Scotland Women's T20I Series. Scotland won 3 out of 4 games. Bangladesh won 2 out of 4 games. Netherlands won 1 out of 4. And the top performers, this is very interesting, no points for guessing who's Bangladesh's best batter. Of course, the captain Nigar Sultana Jyoti, as usual, leading from the front, 190 runs in 4 innings. And again, Catherine Bryce, an all-round performance from Catherine Bryce. I think Scotland has that huge, They have a lot of confidence in both the Bryce sisters, and they have been brilliant. And Catherine Bryce is scored 161 runs in 4 innings and picked up 5 wickets as well. So all-round performance there. Heather Seegers, 120 runs in 4 innings. So from Netherlands, of course, opener for Netherlands. Another very good, very interesting batter. Someone I think can play a few significant innings in this World Cup, definitely in the group stage, and you never know, just might end up upsetting one of the teams. In wickets, if you see, of course, Catherine Bryce was the second highest wicket taker. The highest wicket taker, Ritu Moni of Bangladesh, and somebody, experienced campaigner. We have heard so many times Ritu Moni's name for bowling well, for picking up wickets, and this was nothing new. 7 wickets in 4 games. Christy Gordon, 5 wickets in 4 games, and that's how the Scotland Women's T20I Tri-Series came to an end. The last series that I want to talk about is Women's Tri-Series in Ireland. West Indies won 2, lost 1 to Ireland, and 1 was no result. A lot of games in the Tri-Series in Ireland was washed out because of the rain. Ireland won 2, lost 1. Pakistan won none of the games, and in fact, there was 1 no result, which Pakistan was 111 for 7. So maybe if that game went on, I think they could have lost. But then again, it's perfectly, But then again, since that game did not happen, let's not comment on that. Pakistan did not win any of the matches, that's true. But here's the interesting part. Out of the 3 games in which they batted, one, of course, they were 111 for second. But the other 2 games, they scored above 170. Which kind of, if I was to take something positive out of the 2 games, I would say, out of the 3 games, I would say that's what I would take, that the Pakistan batting team was able to post 170 above in 2 out of the 3 games that they batted in. The batters, well, Orla Prendergast, I think highly impressive and a very good batter. There is no doubt about that. She now has an added responsibility of captaining the team with Gabby Lewis out because of injury. So in the World Cup, I think this World Cup could well be Orla's really this big World Cup for her, and Ireland, I won't be surprised, if Ireland at the back of Orla's performance give us some very, very good results. Again, much like I asked for Bangladesh, same question. Who do you think scored the maximum runs for West Indies? Yes, I'm sure there's no doubt it's Hayley Matthews, of course. 123 runs in 3 innings. Interestingly, in the Tri-Series, no other batter other than Orla and Hayley crossed the 100-run mark. Now, think of this. Hayley Matthews scored 123 in 3 innings, and West Indies won 2 games. That's because the West Indies bowlers were on point. If you look at the number of wickets, Ava Canning of Ireland picked up 6 wickets in 3 games. Kiana Joseph and Sinead Henry from West Indies. Joseph picked up 5 wickets in 4 games, and Sinead Henry picked up 4 wickets in 3 games, which is where West Indies won both the games. Again, picking up wickets is extremely important. Well, that's about all the series that happened as preparation for the World Cup. If you look at it, most of the teams have been in England for quite some time now, have got used to the conditions. I know Australia and South Africa have not really played official matches, but they did play unofficial matches, and they will now play the warm-up games. Shabnam Ismail on her return, 5 wickets, even though, as I said, it was an unofficial match, but still 5 wickets is a huge thing, So I think all the teams are well prepared and now raring to go. Some interesting warm-up matches coming up, and then straight to the action. I'm waiting for Snehashish and Boria Majumdar to join me, because the shows will get interesting when we start chatting about the show. We will have technical analysis as well. All you need to do is stay tuned, keep watching Revsportz, like, share, and subscribe, and do support us. Thank you so much. Have a good day.